It seems like a foregone conclusion that he's going to at least not be wearing a Utah jersey next year. You trade away Rudy Gobert, and it's Danny Ainge at the helm. And Danny Ainge is a tough bargaining guy. He gets what he wants, and he ends up fleecing most people in this. It makes sense. I mean, you're not going to run it back with Donovan Mitchell as your guy. If you've traded away this many people, you have this many picks, Victor being there next year. The Knicks, I think this is such a fair point that I was also reading up on this there. I think we'll call it being dramatic with trades. We expect people. I've seen all this criticism about Donovan Mitchell and that his backcourt of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell won't be all that great defensively and everything. But Donovan Mitchell is a phenomenal basketball player. And especially come playoffs as well, in the Western Conference for being such, I still remember that his debut playoff series against Oklahoma City Thunder. This was when Russell Westbrook was good, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony still had stuff left in the tank, and he went toe to toe with all three of them. And that's probably three Hall of Famers, maybe Paul George, and he is a phenomenal. He will lift your franchise,
absolute Hall of Famers,
and he will lift your franchise. And if you're the Knicks, isn't that all you want at this point? You're still half a decade away from probably being title contenders, because I think all your problems are management. If you can get someone that can lift your franchise, because I reckon Donovan Mitchell's good enough with that team to probably bring them to the bottom end of the playoffs. And at this point, isn't that all you can hope for and wish for? And then he can be the next move, and then you can have another move after that, and another move after that, and another move after that. And eventually propels you to championship level. He's exciting. He's a star. He wants to be in New York, which you probably can't say about any free agent over the past few years. To how often you lost out on Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant because they simply just didn't want to be a part of the trash heap that was the New York Knicks. The asking price will be a killer. And I don't see a scenario where RJ Barrett doesn't go over to Utah. Because if you're Danny Ainge, you want to... Sure, you got all these role players, I guess, out of the Minnesota deal. But you want to... I feel like if you trade away two of those guys, like that's two all-stars, you want to at least be able to say, I got that guy out of that deal. If it's random role players that you can... like some unprotected picks and everything like that, you at least want to say, I got a young star back. And RJ Barrett, I don't think he's even close to 25 yet, with 6'7" wing, improving every year. You want to at least say, I got something out of that deal. So to me, the Knicks, it's more, I feel like you don't have a choice. I feel like anyone else in contention, my Miami Heat, I don't think we've got the assets for it. And I can't really see a scenario where like Bam and stuff like that. I feel like Danny Ainge will drive a hard price. I've seen an interesting one with Donovan Mitchell going to Toronto, which I thought might be whether or not he wants to go to Toronto. But him as a young star, you've got up and coming, you've got a great culture, you've got a great coach in there. But the Knicks to me just makes so much sense. And Danny Ainge is gonna end up fleecing them. I just feel like he doesn't really lose in negotiations. To me, it's a foregone conclusion. I can't see him going back to Utah with just these role players. Probably him and Bogdanovich gone out of there. Who do you see it any other way? Do you see him going to any other team other than Knicks if he does leave?
Yes. Purely because I can understand why Danny Ainge would want RJ Barrett, absolutely, for the reason you stated. You want to, kind of like when the Thunder traded Paul George, and you could say, well, we got to have these picks, but we also got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has turned into a max-level player. So I understand it from that perspective. I just think the Knicks love RJ Barrett, and I'd be shocked, absolutely shocked, if he was included in any deal for almost anyone. If it's Kevin Durant, maybe, different story. But for Donovan Mitchell caliber player, I just don't think... I would probably do it. I just don't think the Knicks will. So, yeah, I can see other teams getting involved. Who it is, we don't know. The other thing is, I do think that if the Jazz held on to him and just maybe waited for the first 15, 20 games next season, then maybe the Knicks start with, a 7-10 record to begin the season, and then all of a sudden they start to, RJ Barrett doesn't get off to the greatest start, and then all of a sudden they start to feel a bit nervous and itchy kind of thing and make a move for Donovan Mitchell and pay overs in that scenario. So that's the only way I can see Donovan Mitchell actually staying in Utah, is if the Jazz think, if Danny Ainge thinks that at some point early in the season, a team that had higher expectations than what they're currently producing at that stage might feel the pressure and therefore pay overs for Donovan Mitchell. And it could be the Knicks, and it could cause them to cough up an RJ Barrett in that situation. So that's the only reason I could see him staying. I don't see him staying beyond next season's trade deadline, but maybe for the first 15, 20 games of next season.